understand that. Yes, ladies and
mic is very sensitive. Do not hit it or slap around because the feedback we're getting is very grainy. It's live, so please, thank you.
Welcome.
Citizens, but also promoting equality and empowering women. Pope Francis is up on the stage now, and before sitting down he gave a two-hand wave to all of the children. Quite an affectionate wave, I must say. And I believe that he will shortly be introduced, perhaps by the Cardinal Archbishop of Port Moresby, who is Mr. John Ribat.
Good afternoon. Hello, hello. Hello.
Sounds like the Cardinal is having some technical issues with his microphone. Someone has hopefully come to sort it out. Yes, they're having a few technical issues with the microphone. A new one is being brought onto the stage. This is what happens when things go out live.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Here we go.
Now we are here to welcome our Holy Father, Pope Francis, to our children here, the streets children, and also Kalang children, Kalang services children. Right, so our Holy Father, Pope Francis, has said, in the church there is room for everyone. His visit today reminds us that Jesus does not point his finger at anyone, but opens his arms and embraces all. As we see with him on the cross, Jesus never closes the door, never, but invites us to enter. Jesus welcomes. The words of Pope Francis provide us with consolation, support, and encouragement. They give us motivation to live with the vulnerable, case the street children, and also our handicapped children in our society, in our deliberate commitment, promote justice and peace among our people. Your Holiness, your visit is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for most of us who are gathered here. We are excited to be part of your visit, which encourages us to renew our commitment to our faith community. Your voice comforts us in our struggles and heartaches. We are indebted to you for making yourself available to us. We rediscover the gift of faith and hear again the call of Jesus to get up and walk. Your presence in our land helps all of us to know more about who and what we are, to love what we know and thus serve what we love. In an era of great advancement in science and technology, the Church keeps our hopes alive by accompanying us and leading us forward in life. Thus, we recall where we have been and where we are going. We remember you in our daily prayers, Holy Father, especially that you may have good health. May God bless and protect you as you carry out your ministry. Thank you.
We just heard from Cardinal John Ribat, the Archbishop of Port Moresby.
Can I bring the mic?
I do believe that we should now have a dance, a traditional dance, I imagine, from some of the children present who are assisted by charitable organizations. Yes, here they are, they're walking to the front, just in front of the stage. They've got beautiful colored feathers on their heads. And they are holding some of them are holding some form of drum, some percussion. And we will now see their dance. It is wonderful to hear the children chanting as they dance their traditional dance. Papua New Guinea has over 800 living languages. It is actually the most linguistically diverse country in the world. Some of the languages with statutory recognition are Tokpisin, English Hirimoto, and Papua New Guinean Sign Language. Of course, sign language is different in every language. Papua New Guinea is home to some of the world's last uncontacted tribes. So there's really deep-rooted tradition in everything that the Papuans do. And this is what is being showed now to the Holy Father as the children dance and sing in their traditional dress. After this dance is over, we should be hearing two questions being asked to Pope Francis. One of them is from a young boy from Callan Services. Callan Services works with children with disabilities. And the other question should be posed by a young boy from Street Ministry, which looks after street children. And then there will be another traditional dance. And the Holy Father will then greet all of those present before blessing all those present. What we just heard and just saw, for those of you following with images, was a group of children performing a traditional song and dance for Pope Francis. Just to remind you that Pope Francis has travelled incredibly far to be in Papua New Guinea, aiming to connect with Papua New Guinea's 2.5 million Catholics. Some of those are the Catholics in the remote, even more remote than Papua New Guinea itself, the remote town of Vanimo, which is a small island where missionaries from Argentina are working. I think we are now going to hear two questions posed to the Holy Father from the children of Street Ministry and Callan Services.
Good evening, His Holiness. Thank you, Holy Father, for your presence among us. I personally thank Callan Services for persons with disability, run by Christian brothers to take care of us. Holy Father, I would like to ask you, 1. Why do we have to suffer with our disability? 2. Why am I not able like others? 3. Why this suffering? 4. Is there hope for us too?
Four questions posed by a young boy from Callan Services.
Holy Father, Holy Father, Holy Father, we are truly blessed with your presence. We know you love all the children because you have taken the initiative to meet with us. even though we are not helpful. Sometimes we are troublemakers. We roam around the streets and become burden for others. We thank the Cardinal and the Archdiocese for starting this ministry to help us educate and look after us. I would like to ask you, Holy Father, why we do not have opportunities like other kids do, and how we can make ourselves useful to make our world more beautiful and happy, even if we live in abandonment and poverty.
And a street child from Street Ministry has also just asked the Holy Father a question. All of them very difficult questions. And I'm not sure whether the Holy Father will be answering those questions or speaking just now. I think the children who have just asked the questions are being taken up onto the stage to greet him. They are shaking his hand, and he is giving them a rosary. And now the second one. So the first child who spoke, is actually speaking in sign language and having someone translate for him. So if I'm not mistaken, the voice we heard was not his voice, but the voice of a young girl who translated for him. I think that we should now be seeing another traditional dance, I think from another group of children. If I'm not mistaken, the first dance came from the Street Ministry children, and the second one now will be from the children of Callan services. There is a bit of movement, but we're not entirely sure what the next event on the agenda is. Yes, the children are preparing for the second dance, and some of these ones are really, really very small. There must only be about, some of them 4 years old, others are much older, and they're all wearing traditional dress. You can really tell that they're excited, perhaps a bit nervous. Just getting organized and in front of the stage. There's maybe around 20, 30 people participating in this dance, it would look like. It looks like one of the boys is not sure where he's supposed to be standing. This sounds like it's being accompanied by pre-recorded music. The Pope was smiling the whole way through that dance, and those were some of the children from Callan Services, which is an organization that looks after children with disabilities in Papua New Guinea. Children, but not only children, excuse me. This is Pope Francis now congratulating those who
all you that
danced and sang. We have someone translating. It would appear that there is a translator who will be translating the Pope's words. The Pope will, of course, speak in Italian. And I will not be translating, I will allow the translator to do so.
Fratelli, buonasera. Un saluto a Sua Eminenza, che ringrazio per le parole che ha rivolto. Saluto la superiore della comunità, la direttrice e tutti i presenti, laici e religiosi. Specialmente voi bambini, che siete meravigliosi. Sono contento di incontrarvi, di condividere con voi questo momento di festa. Ringrazio anche i vostri compagni che mi hanno fatto 2 domande impegnative.
Dear brothers and sisters, good evening. I greet His Eminence, whom I thank for his words, the superior of the community, the director, all those present, religious and laity, and especially you children who are wonderful. I am very happy to meet you and share this moment of celebration with you. I also thank your companions who asked me 2 challenging questions.
Uno di loro mi ha chiesto: perché non sono come gli altri? Davvero mi viene una sola risposta a questa domanda, ed è: perché nessuno di noi è come gli altri. Perché siamo tutti unici davanti a Dio. Perciò non solo confermo che c'è speranza per tutti, come è stato detto, ma aggiungo anche che ciascuno di noi nel mondo ha un ruolo e una missione che nessun altro può svolgere, e che questo, anche se comporta delle fatiche, dona allo stesso tempo un mare di gioia, in modo diverso per ogni persona. La pace e la gioia è per tutti. È vero, tutti abbiamo dei limiti, delle cose che sappiamo fare meglio, e altri invece facciamo fatica e non possiamo fare mai. Ma questo non determina, questo non è quello che determina la nostra felicità. Piuttosto è l'amore che mettiamo in qualsiasi cosa facciamo. Doniamo, riceviamo. Donare amore è sempre e accogliere a braccia aperte l'amore che riceviamo dalle persone che ci vogliono bene. E questa è la cosa più bella e più importante della nostra vita. In qualsiasi condizione e per qualsiasi persona. Anche per il Papa, la nostra gioia non dipende da altro, la nostra gioia dipende dall'amore.
One of you asked me, why am I not like other people? I really only have one answer to this question, and that is, none of us is like anyone else, because we are all unique in God's eyes. It is not only that there is hope for everyone, as has been said, but I would add that each one of us has a role and a mission in the world that no one else can fulfill. Even if it involves difficulties, carrying out our role and mission will also give us a great deal of joy in ways that are different for each person. True, we all have limitations. There are some things we are good at doing. There are things we struggle with or cannot do. This, however, should not determine our happiness, which comes instead from the love we put into whatever we do, give, and receive. The most beautiful and important thing in our lives is always to love, and to welcome with open arms the love we receive from the people who love us. This is so for each person, no matter how or where they find themselves. Did you know that this is also true for the Pope? Our joy does not depend on anything else, only on love.
E questo ci porta all'altra domanda. Come possiamo rendere più bello e felice il nostro mondo? Certamente con la stessa ricetta, imparando giorno per giorno ad amare Dio e gli altri con tutto il cuore, e cercando di apprendere anche a scuola tutto quello che possiamo per farlo nel modo migliore, studiando e impegnandoci al massimo in ogni opportunità che ci viene offerta per crescere, migliorare e affinare i nostri doni e le nostre capacità. Avete mai visto come si prepara un gatto quando deve fare un bel salto? Prima si concentra e punta tutte le sue forze e i suoi muscoli nella direzione giusta. Magari lo fa in un momento veloce e non lo notiamo nemmeno, ma lo fa. E così anche noi, concentrare tutte le nostre forze sulla meta, che è l'amore di Gesù e in Lui per tutti i fratelli e sorelle che incontriamo sulla nostra strada, e poi con slancio riempire tutto e tutti con il nostro affetto. In questo senso nessuno di noi è di peso, come avete detto. Tutti siamo doni bellissime di Dio, un tesoro gli uni per gli altri.
This brings us to the second question. How can we make our world more beautiful and happy? For sure, with the same recipe of learning day by day to love God and others with all our hearts. We can also do it by trying to learn, even at school, all that we can, and to do so in the best way possible through studying and putting our best effort into every opportunity we are given to grow, improve, and refine our gifts and skills. Have you ever seen how a cat prepares itself when it has to make a big jump? First, it concentrates on directing all its strength and muscles in the right direction. Maybe this happens quickly and we do not even notice, but the cat does it. We can do the same by focusing all our strength on our goal, which is love for Jesus and in Him for all the brothers and sisters we meet on the way. And then with new energy, we can help everything and everyone to be filled with love. In this sense, none of us is burdensome. No, we are all beautiful gifts from God, a treasure for one another, as you all have reminded us.
Grazie bambini, grazie tante per questo incontro e grazie a tutti voi che lavorate insieme qui con amore. Tenete sempre accesa questa luce che è un segno di speranza, e non solo per voi, ma per tutti quelli che incontrate, e pure per il nostro mondo, a volte tanto egoista e preoccupato delle cose che non contano. Tenete accesa la luce dell'amore e mi raccomando, pregate anche per me.
Thank you, children, for this meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you all who work together in this place with love. Always keep this light of love burning. It is a sign of hope not only for you, but for all those you meet and for our world, which is sometimes so selfish and preoccupied with things that do not matter. Keep the light of love burning, and please pray for me too.
And with that, the Holy Father has just finished greeting the 800 or so children present at the Caritas Secondary School. And he will now bless all of those present.
Our help is in the name of the Lord.
Made heaven and earth.
May Almighty God bless you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Test of mic.
And it looks like the Pope is presenting the Cardinal with a present. It is an image Pope Francis appears to be catching eyes with some of the children and every so often waves at them very affectionately. And some of them have now brought the Pope a present. And he is greeting them and, as usual, handing each of them something which I believe to be a rosary. And he blesses them all. These are 3 children in traditional dress from street ministry. And now he's receiving a present from 2 young boys from Callan services. With the Papua New Guinea flag. And they too receive their blessing and rosary. And a third present is a traditional drum of some sort. The Pope is asking them to show him how it is played. And of course he doesn't send them away before giving them each their rosary and blessing. More presents for the Pope. This appears to be a woven image of the Pope himself. Of course, still in the Papuan style with the Papuan colours. It's some form of handmade embroidery. It's beautiful. And children are analysing what the Pope is giving them and looking at each other. And one of the children offered him a flag with a flower in the middle, which I believe to be the flag of Enga province, which is one of the provinces of Papua New Guinea. In fact, for those of you who are watching on the screen, you will be able to see that lots of these children are holding not only the Papuan flag, the classic black and red one, but also different flags, and I believe that each of them represents the various provinces that they are from. And I think that is the end of the presents for the Pope, each of them brought up by a different group of children, some with disabilities, some accompanied by social workers, and others just courageously going up themselves, perhaps in groups of 2 or 3. And Pope Francis is getting up, and I think he is going to be taken down to where all of the students and children are sitting, and I think a group photo will be taken. Usually at the end of these events, Pope Francis sits in the middle of all these hundreds of young people, and a group photo is taken. And shortly after this, Pope Francis will be going to meet with bishops, clergy, religious and catechists. And he is running a bit late, but this will take place, and so even if we say goodbye, we do invite you not to go anywhere. We just need to give Pope Francis the time to arrive at the next meeting place. The Shrine of Mary Help of Christians, which is where Pope Francis will be heading shortly, is just about 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometers away from the Caritas Technical Secondary School, which is where this meeting is currently taking place. So not a very long distance to travel. But I imagine that it will be very different from this meeting, with all of these children dressed in their colourful traditional dress. There's a bit of chaos at the moment as everyone is trying to gather around Pope Francis for the group photo, and obviously everybody wants to be next to the Pope. Unfortunately, you can't have 800 people all standing next to one person, so the teachers and the staff are trying to get everyone organised. Not an easy job. We can just see the Cardinal in the middle there as well. This is really the kind of meeting that Pope Francis always seems to enjoy, being surrounded by young people and showing his closeness, of course, to people in need, having met with street children and children with disabilities being looked after by Callan Services, which, as we mentioned earlier, is one of the largest networks of services for children and adults with disabilities in Papua New Guinea. It's a faith-based development organization and embodies the values of respect, presence, compassion and justice. This is what Callan Services has on its website. Its mission is to equip persons with disabilities to participate fully in their communities, socially, academically and economically. Whilst the Sisters of the Society of the Heart of Jesus are in charge of street ministry, caring for impoverished children between the ages of 7 and 14. Since 2010, the team looking after the children has expanded from only 20 to 100 people. Many of the children come from single-parent or broken families. And they've met in a school that obviously has the same values at heart. It's the Caritas Technical Secondary School is a school for girls, and it aims to empower women and make sure that they are given equal opportunities in life. And once again, Pope Francis has really travelled extremely far to be close to this little Papuan flock. Where the majority of the population is Protestant. Pope Francis is very slowly making his way out of the sports hall. Making his way out of the sports hall. And as I mentioned, he will be going to meet with bishops, clergy, religious and catechists very shortly. And so that does conclude the end of this live broadcast of Pope Francis's visit to the Caritas Technical School in Port Moresby in Papua New Guinea on the second leg of his 4-leg apostolic journey abroad. This event is available on our Vatican News YouTube channel and on our Vatican News website, where you can also find summaries of the Holy Father's discourses and homilies and everything that he is doing on this papal journey. So from wherever you are joining us, whether EWTN Television, Catholic Faith Network in America, Shalom Television India and Sunday Shalom, Shalom World Television, Catholic Television, Luminous Radio India and Radio Maria Papua New Guinea, or any other local or diocesan radio station around the world, thank you very much for being with us today. Please also do take a look at our social media pages and don't go anywhere, because we will be back shortly with the next event. I'm Francesca Merlo, and it has been my pleasure being with you today. So thank you very much. And until next time, Laudetur Jesus Christus, praise be Jesus Christ.
face, but now she can't see.
At 87, Pope Francis prepares for his longest trip, covering 30,000 kilometers in 12 days. From September 2 to 13, he will visit Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste, and Singapore, marking his 45th international trip. Starting in Indonesia, a predominantly Muslim country, he will proceed to Papua New Guinea, the farthest continent from Rome he has yet to visit. This will be his first visit to Timor-Leste, the youngest Catholic country since 2002. His trip's culmination will be in Singapore, where he will meet leaders of different religions. Despite health issues forcing changes to trips to Africa and the Dubai Climate Summit, when he completes this journey, he will have visited over 65 countries, strengthening global relationships. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Southeast Asia and Oceania, September 2 to 13. Stay tuned. Following Papua New Guinea, Pope Francis will visit Timor-Leste until September 11. The visit's logo. At 87, Pope Francis prepares for his longest trip, covering 30,000 kilometers in 12 days. From September 2 to 13, he will visit Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste, and Singapore, marking his 45th international trip. Starting in Indonesia, a predominantly Muslim country, he will proceed to Papua New Guinea, the farthest continent from Rome he has yet to visit. This will be his first visit to Timor-Leste, the youngest Catholic country since 2002. His trip's culmination will be in Singapore, where he will meet leaders of different religions. Despite health issues forcing changes to trips to Africa and the Dubai Climate Summit, when he completes this journey, he will have visited over 65 countries, strengthening global relationships. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Southeast Asia and Oceania, September 2 to 13. Stay tuned. Following Papua New Guinea, Pope Francis will visit Timor-Leste until September 11. The visit's logo shows Pope Francis blessing with a raised hand against a globe from which a map of Timor-Leste emerges. The globe emphasizes the global dimension of the visit, with Timor-Leste's map in the foreground representing the local focus of the trip. The motto for the visit, "May your faith be your culture," encourages the Timorese to integrate their faith with their cultural traditions. This message highlights the value of enculturation, urging the faithful to live out their beliefs in harmony with their rich cultural heritage. The Vatican describes the logo as a symbol of the Pope's blessing and the protection he brings to the Timorese during his journey. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Timor-Leste, September 9 to 11. Stay tuned. As part of the Apostolic journey to Asia and Oceania, Pope Francis will visit Papua New Guinea from September 6 to 9. The official logo for this visit prominently features a cross, designed with colors that evoke the stunning sunrises and sunsets of Papua New Guinea. Adorning the cross is a bird of paradise, a symbol of the country, while the central theme of the logo